Imagine the most ruthless hunter that ever prowled this planet. Its teeth, its armor, its instinct, honed over hundreds of millions of years, suddenly ripped from the world that birthed it and thrust into an alien epoch that never knew such a predator. What would become of a creature built for one set of skies when the air itself turns hostile? In the next few minutes, we will watch evolution itself become the executioner, as the very atmosphere and the native apex predators conspire to seal the fate of the displaced terror. Each era of Earth forged a biological machine perfectly tuned to its chemistry, its oxygen level, its temperature. Remove a machine from its workshop, and the very fabric of its existence unravels. We will travel through a series of logical experiments. A predator displaced, the environment reacting, the inevitable clash with the local supreme hunter. Let us begin at the very dawn of animal life, where the oceans were nothing but microbial mats, and the sky was a dim oxygen-poor veil. First, picture the 6-meter armored fish, Dunkleosteus, the apex of the Devonian seas, materializing in the dim Precambrian ocean. The water is a thick broth of slime, dominated by colonies of bacteria and cyanobacteria, with dissolved oxygen barely a fraction of modern levels. No schools of fish, no crustacean prey, only microscopic life clinging to the seafloor. The massive bite that could shatter bone finds nothing but soft gelatinous mats. Within minutes, the creature's gills sputter, the lack of oxygen turning each breath into a desperate gasp. Above, ultraviolet radiation, unfiltered by a protective ozone layer, sterilizes the shallow waters, and the armored behemoth, designed for a world rich in oxygen, begins to suffocate. The ocean, once a hunting ground, becomes a tomb. Now shift to the Cambrian shoreline, where the first true super predator, Anomalocaris, stalks the waters with spiny frontal appendages and a circular, serrated mouth. Imagine a gigantic Carboniferous scorpion, Pulmonoscorpius, forced onto this barren coast, its massive legs scrambling over rock and dry algae. Driven by hunger, it plunges into the tepid sea, only to encounter the ancient ruler of these waters. The scorpion's hard exoskeleton, a marvel of terrestrial defense, meets the crushing grip of Anomalocaris' spines. The circular mouth, lined with rows of serrated plates, snaps shut like a guillotine, pulverizing the arthropod's armor. In a flash, the scorpion collapses to the ocean floor, its fate sealed by a predator that predates it by tens of millions of years. Could any land creature ever hope to survive the sea's original sovereign? From the shallow Cambrian seas, we ascend to the lush, oxygen-rich swamps of the Devonian. Here, a Permian mammal-like reptile, the Gorgonopsid, leans over a turbid river to drink, unaware that the waters conceal a lurking monster. Dunkleosteus, now 20 feet long, erupts from the gloom. Its bony plates, sharpened by evolution into razor-like blades, function as a guillotine. The bite force, comparable to that of the later tyrannosaur, snaps shut around the Gorgonopsid's ribcage, shattering bone in an instant. The reptile is dragged beneath the surface, torn apart by a predator that belongs to a later chapter of history. The river, once a source of sustenance, becomes a vortex of death. Finally, we enter the hyper-oxygenated marshes of the Carboniferous, where the air contains roughly 35% oxygen, far richer than today's 21%. A Triassic agile hunter, Postosuchus, is released into this world of giant ferns and towering club mosses. The surge of available oxygen ignites its metabolism, granting a burst of energy beyond anything it ever experienced in its own time. Yet this advantage becomes a double-edged sword. A massive scorpion, the size of a wolf, prowls the swamp. Its venomous sting evolved to paralyze prey of comparable size. The Postosuchus, overstimulated and less cautious, is struck on a hind limb. The neurotoxin spreads like fire through its nervous system. Muscles seize, and the once swift predator collapses, helpless beneath the tangled roots. In an environment that fuels life to colossal proportions, a single toxin becomes the instrument of its downfall. These scenarios illustrate a simple truth. The conditions that once nurtured a predator can turn into its executioner when those conditions change. The environment, the chemistry of the air and water, and the native apex predators together create a lethal equation that no displaced hunter can solve. What do you think would be the most spectacular clash? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if this journey through time has sparked your curiosity, Hit that subscribe button so we can keep exploring the impossible together. The lesson that rises from each impossible encounter is not merely a spectacle of teeth and claws, but a reminder of how tightly life is woven into the fabric of its world. Every predator that ever roamed the planet is a product of a precise balance of temperature, of oxygen, of the chemistry that sustains the smallest plankton and the tallest fern. When that balance is disturbed, even the most formidable hunter finds its strengths turned against it, as if the universe itself were rewinding the clock and demanding payment for the privilege of existence. Consider the armored fish that once ruled Devonian seas. Its bony plates were engineered to slice through flesh, yet in an ancient ocean, lacking dissolved oxygen, those same plates became a heavy burden, dragging the creature to the bottom where darkness and sterile waters awaited. Imagine the scorpion that stalked Carboniferous marshes, evolved to deliver a toxin that could immobilize prey the size of a small mammal. In a hyper-oxygenated swamp that amplified every nerve impulse, that very toxin became a poison for the scorpion's own kin, spreading faster than its nervous system could compensate. These paradoxes illustrate a deeper truth. Adaptation is a double-edged sword, sharpened by the very conditions that forged it. When we transport a creature across epochs, we are not merely moving a body through time. We are inserting a complex system of physiology, behavior, and evolutionary history into an alien matrix. The matrix reacts, sometimes with brutal efficiency. The air of the Permian, thin and scorching, sapped the vigor of a Jurassic carnivore within moments, while the relentless heat of the Cretaceous turned a pack of cold-adapted hunters into trembling shadows, their muscles stiffening as frost formed on their breath. Each scenario becomes a laboratory without walls, a thought experiment that reveals how fragile dominance truly is. The cascade of consequences does not end with the immediate death of the displaced apex. The removal of a top predator reshapes food webs, opens niches, and can trigger cascading extinctions or proliferations. In the Cambrian seas, the sudden appearance of a massive scorpion would have forced Anomalocaris to adapt its hunting strategies, perhaps driving the evolution of even sharper spines or more efficient suction feeding. In the Carboniferous swamps, the loss of a swift Postosuchus could have allowed smaller amphibians to flourish, altering the competitive pressures that later gave rise to the first true reptiles. Even a single what-if scenario hints at a ripple effect that could reverberate for millions of years, reshaping the course of life itself. These mental voyages also hold a mirror to our own species. Humanity, unlike the creatures we have examined, possesses the technology to alter environments on a planetary scale. We have raised atmospheric carbon, warmed oceans, and extinguished habitats with a speed that dwarfs any natural shift recorded in the fossil record. If a modern apex predator were thrust into a world of ancient oxygen levels, it would face the same fate as the creatures we have imagined. Its evolutionary advantages would be nullified, its biology overwhelmed. The comparison forces us to confront the possibility that our own dominance is not immune to the laws that govern every other life form. So, what does this mean for the future of the living world? It suggests that the greatest threats may not always come from the arrival of a new competitor, but from the subtle, relentless changes in the environment that render even the most perfect designs obsolete. It underscores the importance of preserving the delicate balances that have allowed life to thrive for eons. It also reminds us that curiosity, when paired with rigorous imagination, can illuminate the hidden mechanics of existence, turning abstract speculation into a powerful tool for understanding. As we close this journey across time, let us pause to reflect on the fragile tapestry of evolution. Each era, each creature, each breath of air was a note in a symphony that still echoes today. By asking what if, we are not merely indulging in fantasy, we are probing the very principles that dictate survival, adaptation, and extinction. The answers may be unsettling, but they are essential. What scenario resonated most with you? Which clash of titans do you imagine would have sparked the most dramatic cascade of change? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let the discussion unfold. If this exploration of impossible encounters has sparked a spark of wonder, consider joining us on future voyages through the corridors of deep time. A simple click to like, a subscription, or a share helps keep these stories alive, ensuring that the mysteries of the past continue to inspire the discoveries of tomorrow.